But yeah, I also want to jump in here, kind of just give my review of the game. I had a lot of fun playing on Rogue for my first playthrough and going through the entire storyline. Check out the map. The map's just huge, and even getting through the entire story, I've still got a few pretty big chunks of area I haven't explored yet. All over in different sections of the map, like this couple entire areas right here, and up here in the north part of the map. Just all over the place. I got so much more I can explore. Every time you explore a little bit more, you find new quick travel points that'll help you travel around a lot easier. You know, I've got a ton of dungeons I can still go through, even checking out some of the areas. In Fracture Peaks, only found 4 of 28 statues. Insane the amount of stuff you can explore and find in here. Only 16% of challenges done, 2% of aspects collected. Yeah, you got a clan in this one that's kind of cool that you can start up. Shout out to Lord Cognito, set up an ILP clan in Diablo 4. You got the store that you can buy different cosmetics. This doesn't add stats or abilities, purely cosmetic. After getting through the campaign, finished it out at level 45 on Rogue. Got a few legendaries I'm using, mostly rare armor though. Then down to your armor, different stats you can boost, different resistance that'll come with it. It'll also help you lean into where you want to go in the skill tree. This one, for example, gives me 1+ rank to poison trap. This one gives me 1+ rank to caltrops. This one, you got a couple of ranks of rapid fire. Yeah, that all goes into the abilities where I've got 5 out of 5 rapid fire, but it even shows you right there under rank 5 out of 5 at the top there, item contribution. Really detailed down to a point. You can decide how you're going to build out your character, and the armor you pick up could influence that. This is the build that I finished out the game with, where I got 3 going into Forceful Arrow, which you can use to make enemies vulnerable. So it's got Enhanced Forceful Arrow and Primary Forceful Arrow. In the next tree I'm using 5 out of 5 going into Rapid Fire, with Enhanced Rapid Fire and Improved Rapid Fire. And then in the next section of the tree, 5 out of 5 in caltrops. You toss these on the ground and it slows enemies and damages them. Makes it easier to play Rogue from range when the enemies are trapped in there. And then I was playing around with different pieces of the next section of the tree. I tried out Concealment because there's a way you can build into it. Once you get into Subverting Stealth, you can make enemies vulnerable when you break your concealment by attacking them. And I also tried out Dark Shroud, which gives you more damage reduction. But in the end, I actually settled on Poison Trap. You know, shout out to Lord Kaibatsu that put me onto this and a couple of the other poison abilities and what I've got going on further down into the tree that helped me finish the final boss fight. So yeah, because I've got 2 coming from item contribution, and I ranked this all the way up to rank 5, so you can actually overpower a skill this way, where it's 7 out of 5. And then I've got Enhanced Poison Trap and Countering Poison Trap. So next tree, you can see I've got 5 out of 5 for Poison Imbuement. Basically, it just adds poison damage to your bow and arrow or your knives when you're using them, which really helps with single target damage. And then got Enhanced Poison Imbuement that just increases the duration, and Blended Poison Imbuement that you can deal 75% increased poison damage with critical strikes. And then also kind of spec'd it out a little bit more to lean into the poison with the imbuement and the trap with Deadly Venom, which increases poisoning damage debilitating toxins that when you do poison enemies, you'll get damage reduction from them. And then you got alchemical advantage, 2% increased attack speed for every enemy you poison, up to 15%. So if you poison a whole group with your poison trap, this will even make it even easier to get your attack speed up. And then you got similar trees that I kind of tried this out between different characters, both because there are similar ones between the rogue and the barbarian that I tried out in the beta. That you have cold imbuement, where you can do ice damage, where you chill and freeze enemies, which that helps lock down some bigger enemies if you can actually freeze them up. You've got shadow imbuement, which you make enemies vulnerable, and when you kill an enemy that's affected by this, they'll explode and damage the enemies around them. Which is kind of cool for ad control. It works a little bit better when you're playing in a team. The ultimate skill that I went with was Death Trap. The base one just damages in a circle. The more you upgrade it, it'll pull all them enemies into the center of the trap. Depending on how many enemies you kill with this, it'll reduce its cooldown. So I can show you how this kind of plays out for a bit. So basically the way I got this build running, you can throw a trap down, slow them, poison them, and then pull them all into a circle with Death Trap, and that keeps them in the poison. And then if you got tougher enemies, you can use Poison Imbuement skills in this case. They come back pretty quick. So you can keep tossing on skills. It doesn't seem like the rotation of throwing your skills out takes really that long for them to come back unless you're facing a ton of enemies. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool how they got the skill trees set up in this game. And then because I'm using a couple of trap skills at the bottom of the tree, I went for exposure, dealing direct damage to an enemy affected by a trap. Skill has a 20% chance to either reduce the cooldown of the trap skill or drop exploding stun grenades that deal 510 damage. You can also get that same skill on the ring. Caltrips also throw a cluster of exploding stun grenades that deal 230 damage, so it's half the damage as far as on this ring, how I'm getting it, is the bottom of the skill tree, but you can get different skills like that from different places. In your major town, first one you'll get to here, Coverstad, you've got different variety of vendors and stuff you can use. For example, you got the stash, where I got plenty of legendaries I can use for getting those special perks out of for crafting. I didn't really use any jewel gems throughout my entire playthrough, so I got these stored up for when I start tweaking my build and start filling out gem slots on my armor and weapons. You got your wardrobe, where you can mess with all your cosmetics, which the more you break down stuff at the blacksmith, the more of these cosmetics you'll get. So you can start really playing around with your look. So you can get quite a bit of this without paying any money to the shop and paying real money for it. Yeah, it kind of gives you an idea of all the cosmetics you can find in the game. How you can really get the look of your character down to exactly how do you want it to look. And then you got the jeweler that you'll start picking up gems while killing enemies all over the place. And you'll be able to upgrade those gems by combining them, and the more you combine them, see for example the chipped amethyst would only be 5% damage over time. The amethyst gem is 6% damage over time, so every time you get it up to a higher quality, the effect of it will increase. And then it depends which gem you're looking at and whether you slot it into weapon, armor, or jewelry. Then you got the occultist, where this is how you're gonna imprint or extract different aspects. For example, you can pull the aspects out of legendaries this way. You can also enchant items, rare or legendary. At the beginning of the 4th act, you'll be able to come to the stable master and pick up your first horse, and then you can even purchase other horses, other horse armor, or if you've gotten, for example, I got that trophy from killing a Shaba in the beta, where you'll equip it onto your horse. But yeah, you see different ones to buy, and different mount armor. That's the one that you actually have to buy in the store. But then here we got the alchemist. This is where you'll level up your healing potion, where you'll be able to craft different elixirs that no matter what elixir that you pick up, each one comes with 30 minutes of 5% more experience. So I would just make these and pop them, even if the resistance or the increased damage wasn't helping me out. I would always be going for just a little bit more experience. If you need different materials for different quests, you can craft certain materials with easier to find ones. And you also got this one. It's really strong if you can find all the ingredients for incense. You got this one that increases Song on the Mountain, that increases your armor by 200.
Light.
Also just got a healer that if you're moving around and your health is lower, you're missing potions, you pick it up there, just like you find these red pots in dungeons. Over here you got the blacksmith that you'll definitely need to use a lot for salvaging items. We need to break stuff down because you'll pick up a lot of loot that, depending on what you're looking for, you're not going to be using. And you got a limited space in storage, so you'll have to break quite a bit of it down. Then you got repair, that you repair the durability of your items. And then upgrading items, where when you break stuff down, you can, certain rare items you can only level up 3 times, and then you've got legendary items that can have up to 4 levels, and each time you go up, you'll need different ingredients and more ingredients and more gold. And then we got the armor vendor, where you'll be able to buy different pieces of armor for gold. Also, if you're looking for a little bit stronger weapon and it's just not dropping on the ground for you, you can check out the weapons vendor, which quite honestly, I actually never used either of these vendors in my entire playthrough. You just get so much loot dropping on the ground. All this stuff that you see on my character, none of it came from one of these 2 vendors. I didn't buy it. It was all dropped on the ground. Which part of that is actually because you go through so many different things, between going through side quests that you'll see these exclamation points for side quests. When you turn to the side quests, when you pick them up, you'll either see one of these blue diamonds, where you'll have to go talk to somebody or go to an area, and it'll tell you right in the description the level you should be at to do the quest, the name of the quest, and what you have to do there. Or you could also see a general area. Like, you'll see this blue outline to an area where, again, it'll tell you the level of the quest, the name of the quest, and what you have to do inside of this blue circle. Some are smaller like that. Some, they give you a bigger area to explore, or bigger area to kill a certain number of enemies. Maybe you have to kill them and pick up an item that they drop. Yeah, pretty good variety around that in different side quests and different stories that you'll do with people. Have random events like this that you'll run into enemies. You can have ones like this that are protect the survivors, or you might have ones that just tell you to hold down a control point or kill certain enemies, kill enemies inside of a certain area. Yeah, there's a pretty good variety of these different events throughout the map. And also you can see on the right side of the screen, it says, it'll say mastery and a objective next to it. Where if you're able to complete the masteries, you'll get increased rewards. There we go. It didn't get too much of anything good out of that one, but yeah, you never know. You can usually find those events just on your way to the next dungeon or story mission or side quest that you're doing. So I haven't finished one of these, but you've also got strongholds where there are different settlements that you'll have to clear out an area and kill a boss in there. And the more you finish out and run out finishing waypoint, strongholds, side quests, areas discovered, side dungeons, and altars of Lilith, it'll give you renown. They'll level the area up for you, and each time you get to a major part of the level, you'll get different bonuses, from gold to skill points to potion capacity. And at the high end, looks like how you get Paragon points. So you got quite a bit to do in each area. I'm gonna stay away from story spoilers, kind of talking about my overall experience, enjoyment of it. You know, thought it was really good. I really enjoyed the characters. One of the first ones you meet is Lorath, who's a Herodrum that you go through most of the game with. And he's got different story beats to him. There's a lot of stuff from his past that he's wrestling with throughout the story, and there's just different levels to him that are really cool to experience. You got Noreen, which you meet pretty early on in the story, and how she fits in, and you're talking about a much younger character who's the interactions between her and Lorath are pretty cool. You kind of see her coming up as a student, where Laura's kind of the teacher, and it's a really cool dynamic there. And then there'll be different people along the way that you meet, like Donnan, who is a friend of Laura's from his past. And then you've got the two big characters in the storyline, Inarius, one of the angels of the high heavens that left the high heavens to come to Sanctuary, and Lilith, one of the demons from the burning hells that both came together to create Sanctuary, but over time there became a rift between them, and that's kind of what this war is really about, that you're caught in the middle of, and you get to go through this fantastic story with all these different characters, and by the end of it, really figure out what's going on. Really enjoyed it. It's kind of along a linear path, but you can break off into side missions, so it kind of breaks it up, where if you're not beelining the main story, you can kind of lose track of it. But I think they did a really good job of making it consistent all throughout, where it's not that hard to follow, and really enjoyed the narrative all throughout. I'm kind of curious how they're gonna continue from this point, because I expected a little bit more, where I'm happy the way they ended it. So just wonder where it goes from here. Are they going to include it in either DLC, or is this kind of going to kind of feed into this? Maybe their story included in the seasons as those come out at a later date. You know, overall, I really enjoyed this game. I mean, the only performance issue I had was, I think in the first maybe 3 days, I dropped from a team playing with a few other friends once. Outside of that, this game is run absolutely flawless. You've got different environments that you'll get to go to. Yeah, you got some pretty cool snowy environments, as you can see here, and then you got polar bears. You get to that area pretty early on. And then later in the game, you'll get into this like swampy rundown area. Yeah, and each area you kind of got different enemies that you'll be fighting against. Part of the game, you'll even go to a desert where you got these really cool crafted dunes. You can even see the ripples from windstorms in the sand. More variety of enemies. That each location is a little bit different. Should kind of give you an idea, you know, all the different places you can go, the different ways you can build your character, the different kind of activities, quests that you've got throughout the game. I mean, almost 56 hours put into this game already, and yeah, you can tell from there, I still have quite a bit to explore, still have plenty of side quest missions and dungeons, and just, I've still got a ton to do in the game, and I haven't really gotten into crafting. I don't have a full set of legendary armor yet. You know, definitely plenty more to do. Even after 55 hours in, that's just scratching the surface. But yeah, thanks again everyone for jumping in. Greatly appreciate the support. You know, thanks for all the follows on Twitch, all the likes and subs on YouTube. Yeah, hopefully that gives you a pretty good review of Diablo 4. Been really enjoying it. If you haven't gotten a chance to check it out, you know, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be playing this for quite a while. Yeah, thanks again everyone for watching. Have a great night everyone, and have fun gaming.